Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Water Cooler. I am Sarah from Texas, and Lisa in Kentucky is first on today. Shout out, Lisa. Hope you're having an amazing day. We are here to chat all the latest celebrity news, reality TV, which is going to be RHONY, Jeff Lewis Live, all the things. I hope you're having an amazing day. I woke up to a little drizzle, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll just go to the gym and do my walk and watch TV instead of do my walk and, possibly get rained on because you never know when the rain's going to stop or start. And then I went to my bed and started watching RHONY because I didn't get a chance to watch it last night. And then I heard the rain start even louder. And I was like, maybe I'll just take the day off from working out, It's not like it's dropping the scale anyways, right? Because I think all I'm doing is eating more food. But anyways, so it is still raining, not horrible, just enough to be a nice, relaxing day. So I hope you're having a great day too. And it's still like 85 degrees. The bad thing is it might rain on our Halloween tomorrow. So you know how Halloween goes, or if you're like us, you never know what the weather's going to be. It could be hot in South Texas. It could be super cold. By super cold, I mean 60 in Houston, and the rain is what is going to make it, not so fun if it does rain. Anyways, welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Wednesday. Diane says, happy Wednesday, Chumpettes. I love it. Yes, Sarah says, happy Halloween Eve, everyone. Exactly. Lisa says, hello to all my favorite friends who love Sarah and Jeff Lewis. Oh my gosh, I love that so much. Okay, let's chat a little of Andy Cohen live because he and John were live today. He is on medicine. He was coughing less and less. He's on prednisone and some other kind of, something rather to help his coughing. Definitely, what? My lipstick's a little aggressive. I just put it on in my kitchen. And then I put a little chapstick over it. And it looks red to me instead of this deep pink that I thought it was. Anyways, interesting. Okay. Do you like the lipstick or not? Let me know. I'm not the biggest fashionista or definitely not a beauty queen. Okay. Anyways, they have just been getting along better. I'm really liking it. And even a caller called in and said that there's just a really good vibe between them. I don't know if it's because Andy's been traveling, so he's been without his kids. He had a little daddy time. John's been traveling, doing shows. John's got a new boo in his life. He was even FaceTiming him last night for like 30 minutes. So I just think everything is on an upward swing with Andy Cohen Live, and I'm so, so here for it. As much as I like John Hill living in LA and coming on Jeff Lewis Live, I think I would love to see him move to New York and just kind of bring his career even further up. So anyways, one of the things they chatted about though, and I just thought of this. So today is Wednesday. I think it was, no, he was off all last week from Hey You. I think it was on Monday's show that, Sarah says my lipstick is very pretty. Thank you. Hey, Michael Riley, Jake from Kansas, heard you today on the show. Great call in today. Marla says, howdy from Central Texas. Hello, everybody. Shout out Dr. Laura Chumpette. Oh, that's funny. I love that. Anyways, the music being over them when they were talking, like I thought it was a mistake last time whenever I heard it, but they actually said that they had a short little meeting this morning, not with John, and which I was like, he's literally 50% of this show. Okay. 80-20, but I think he's 50% of Andy Cohen Live. So I kind of don't like that they couldn't have thrown him on a Zoom and had him on this meeting. But they were talking about the music talking over them. And I kind of agreed because it was very aggressive last time. And I was like, is this a mistake? Like, what is going on? Anyways, really good. He did talk last night on Watch What Happens Live. And they talked on Andy Cohen Live. The news that we chatted about yesterday that Sonia Morgan is moving to West Palm Beach. She's got a nice condo there, so it hasn't been confirmed. Oh, I love that. Lisa says, how did your guest spot go on the podcast last night? I was not guessing. I was just literally in the audience. I was just watching along, just like everyone else was. It was so fun. It was just over 3 hours. It's a little long in my opinion, but I think David Yontef and Sarah Fraser are gonna work that out. I think at the end they were asking people like how long it should be. My phone literally died at the very end because the first 2 virtual podcasts, so this was the one that Sarah Fraser and David Yontef put on last night. It's the third one I bought a ticket for. Super fun. You can ask them anything. At the last minute, the last week or so, she invited Jim Bellino from former Real Housewives of OC, Alexis's ex-husband, to come on. He was just as I thought he'd be, kind of full of himself, kind of promoting himself. But I did ask a question and I said, if they are to get married, Alexis and Johnny J, do you have it in y'all's papers that you will stop paying her this $10,000 alimony? And he said, well, before that, he had said, well, I pay her too much as it is. So I'm like, But he cleared up that he actually pays her way more than $10,000 when you include in the child support. So they've got one kid away at college, and then the twins are 17, and they kind of go back and forth between Alexis and his house. So because at 17, you can pick, they said they live very close to each other. So it was good though. Take a listen because I think David will put it on his Patreon behind the velvet rope. So if you're on his Patreon, you will get to watch it or listen to it. However, Patreon works. I don't know if they have video. No, they do have video, I think. Of course they do, because people have told me videos that Kelly and Rick have done. Anyways, they said West Palm Beach. Exactly. Southern Belle says, did they say if Sonia was moving to Palm Beach or West Palm Beach? It's different. Palm Beach is the wealthy side, and it's not a home, it's a condo. So I don't know what's going on with her wealth or lack thereof, or family money, or any inheritance she got from the divorce. It kind of makes me sad. All the years on reality TV. I mean, she really, you got to hand it to her. She's a hot mess, but she really put herself out there. So, I wouldn't expect Housewives to set you up. In my brain, a housewife is supposed to be, aspirational. They're supposed to have money before the show. I'm learning that I think a lot of them portray that they have much more money than they actually do. So the fact that she hasn't had a real successful career as far as making money outside of Housewives, and then she hasn't been on Housewives for a couple of years, I don't know how financially stable she is, but makes me sad. AUS Fly Girl says they're actually separate cities. Floridian here for 15 years. Yeah. So anyways, somebody said she's actually been in Florida for years, that she hasn't really been in. No, David Yontef said this. I won't spill too much scoop about it, but it was a really good virtual podcast. So the next one they have, make sure to join us. Tickets are usually like $30. So it's so fun to just sit. I did do it in my podcast room because I thought I was going to use my computer, and then technology, I couldn't get Zoom on my computer. I don't know why Zoom is not on my computer, because I thought I had it, but it was on my phone. Then my phone died at the end of the 3 hours. So anyways, Southern Belle says, I feel like West Palm Beach is kind of boring. So one of my true crime shows that I watched from this weekend was the one I chatted about, I think on Monday. And I think it was Palm Beach, West Palm Beach, some like 12,000 or 17,000 square foot house for this, wife. And oops, what did I just do to my, hold on. Did I come back? I pushed a button on my computer. Anyway, so it was definitely all those fancy areas down there. Okay, let's chat Real Housewives of New York, season 15, episode 5. People love or hate this new cast. Like, there's really not much in between. So I wouldn't exactly say Sarah Foster loves me, because she called me out 1 or 2 times that she was on Jeff Lewis and said, oh, that fangirl of yours, she doesn't like me. She was bad mouthing me. And I'm like, no, I wasn't. I said you were boring, because you were. Like, kind of everyone said you were boring. So whatever. Anyways, I didn't even like her on Watch What Happens Live. I'm just saying. But she is really into the new season. So last night was a whole lot of really nothing except for Jessel's clueless birthday party that she threw for herself. Totally not opposed to that. I mean, the reason she did it is okay. I'm surprised she didn't tell her husband off camera, "Hey, I'm gonna do all the work. We're gonna pay for all this because that's how it works, but we're gonna get pretty much a whole freaking episode, which means I, Jessel, thirst trap girl herself, is gonna get practically a whole episode for my birthday party." I don't really know why she chose to let it be known that she was hosting it herself, because I feel like it would have just looked a little cleaner if her husband hosted this 41st birthday party for her, but whatever. It was cute. The outfits were cute. It was clearly based on the 90s movie Clueless. A lot of them dressed up like some of the characters. Jenna Lyons actually dressed up as the dad in like the little suit. It was really cute. But it was cute. Oh, Southern Belle says it's a big deal if you say, "I live in Palm Beach." It's very expensive. Epstein's home was on that side. Yeah, lots of. Did they demolish that house? I feel like they were going to because of all the nasty stuff that happened there, but I feel like they literally demolished that house. Spent many years in Palm Beach during the season. Oh, Michael Riley, you are just oozing in wealth and sophistication and experience. Like the way I need an evening with you so bad, so bad, so bad. Oh, I love Tinsley. Southern Belle Cell says Tinsley mom lives in Palm Beach on the ocean side. I love that. Okay, so they kind of start off showing a little bit of 30 seconds of this couple, 30 seconds of this couple. I guess Cy and her husband David have a house in upstate New York, so they go and bring the whole family, including her aunt, who is very, precious to her. And they take her mom's ashes from being buried a couple of years ago, and kind of they're going to start a tree. So that was really sweet, very emotional. Although Cy's aunt was way better at talking than Cy was. Cy was kind of like, "I don't really have anything to say." And she's made no bones about it. I think her mom had a difficult life, which meant she had a difficult life. Clearly she misses her and loves her, but it's complicated, right? As they say on Facebook with relationships, it's complicated. Anyways, the party was super cute. Jessel changed into, I think, 3 different outfits that all look like they might have looked better on a 21-year-old versus a 41-year-old. And it's nothing about her body. It's just, I feel like she's made such a 180 from last year. Besides losing the weight, she's just stepped up the glam like tenfold, stepped up the outfit, stepped up the, everything. And it just feels, I don't know. I guess everyone does it more so on the newer seasons. They get the feedback, they see what social media is saying, they look at themselves on TV, and they start making more money, and they realize, so I guess it's normal. I just don't like it. I sort of like, Erin's style, as much as she was kind of putting her down, like she's stuck in the dressing of an 80-year-old. I'm like, she dresses really cute and conservative and fancy and casual, and Levi's blue jeans, and oh my gosh, I love that. Hamilton says parts of West Palm Beach, especially just over the bridge, have been redone in the last 10 years. And Dale's mom has a condo here, or a condon. I think you meant condo. Anyways, Erin's really upset over Jenna because she feels like Jenna's kind of not being true to herself. Like they used to be really good friends. I mean, Jenna has said multiple times since last season that she's always kind of had these social insecurities. She might be fantastic on the professional side, but on the personal side, like she's not good at texting. She's not good at reaching out to people. She's just not good with that stuff. So I think even though because Erin's going through something so rough with her kids, her husband, her career, money, her mom is sick, all those things that are going on at the filming, her dad, do we even still know how her dad passed away? Like it feels sudden, but she never said anything. And I don't know anything. I haven't DM'd her. I wouldn't ask her how her dad passed away. But, we see him. We're going to see him on the season and everything seems fine. So I have no idea if he had something medically brewing underneath or it was something sudden. Either way, it's tragic because she was very close to her dad. And now we know her dad and her biological mom, that's the only child they had together. So he went on to remarry and have 4 other kids that she's very close with, but she was the only one. So that means to me, when she went to their house, she was probably never with her dad. She was always with those 4 other kids because he didn't divorce that woman. So, I think her time with her dad was very, very precious. But it seems like they make up towards the end. They hug, it just is not seeming. I don't want drama. I kind of liked last season. I felt like last season they seemed like better friends than they do this season. So I know things go up and down. We know BravoCon, we know press, we know when they go and watch What Happens Live, we can see who's in the front row with them. We can see who's taking pictures with them on Instagram. You can kind of see when people have different sides with people. But it just seems like the new girls, Raquel and Rebecca Minkoff, are just kind of on the outskirts more so. I mean, there's 8 of them for one thing. I mean, that's a shit ton of people. It's a lot. Watch What Happens Live was Raquel and Sarah Foster was on. Raquel's fiance or wife, Mel, who I really like, was in the audience next to Rebecca Minkoff, which I'm kind of surprised. I kind of feel like, I don't know. I mean, I've told y'all before I even knew who Rebecca Minkoff was. If you follow me on Instagram before Rebecca was announced, probably a year ago, I'm at a TJ Maxx and I see a coat or a shirt, something, and it said Rebecca Minkoff as the brand. I had no clue who she was, never heard of her. I took a picture and I'm like, when your brain immediately goes to Beverly Hills, because I, of course, thought of Crystal Minkoff. No relationship at all, I don't think. And now it's funny. Now she's a housewife and now Crystal's not a housewife. So kind of interesting. Wait, what's the Leopard Lounge, Hamilton? My profile picture with my mom was taken at the famed Leopard Lounge. Is that somewhere in Palm Beach, West Palm Beach? I have no idea. I haven't heard of that. I don't go to those fancy places. Hamilton says, my dad loved Anne Margaret. She started an Instagram account about a year ago. Oh, how sweet. Anne Margaret started an Instagram account? Who? What? Anyways, okay, let's get into today's Jeff Lewis Live with Cynthia Bailey and Crystal Minkoff again. Like, I don't know. Too soon. Like, they were just there promoting Humble Brag. Every Monday, a new episode comes out. Like I said, I have really talked about how I liked episode 1 of Humble Brag. It was a lot of behind the scenes. Even Jake from Kansas called in. I think he's the one that called in and gave a really big compliment about it. And it's true. It's exactly what I said. They broke the fourth wall and really gave a lot of information. But it's also information that just kind of confirm what we're thinking, what we're feeling, what we're seeing with the fan accounts getting involved, the podcasters getting involved and like calling the housewives and, doing the dirty work behind the scenes for some podcasters and getting the scoop, posting things, content that they get really early from these housewives, like leaving an event. It's just getting a little muddied waters, if you will. You know what I mean? I don't know if episode 2 is any better. Let me know if y'all have listened to it, because clearly it's been out for a couple of days already. I guess they dragged Jeff Lewis, but in the end, because don't forget, so BravoCon 2023 last November, whenever it was, early November, I think, Jeff upset quite a few housewives. Crystal was one of them. He basically said she was boring. She came back at him and kind of made a slur that everyone said, something about stick your dick in a mouth or something like that. which he's like, I mean, I do. I'm a gay man. But anyways, she kind of got some heat for that. But they've since talked. I don't even think he sent her an orchid. I don't think. But now she lovingly calls him a nerd. Like that's like the biggest compliment from her. So I kind of like that. So Raquel says, I don't think their podcast will last. Okay, so I forgot that they were on YouTube, which is genius because YouTube is where it's at. I mean, not for me necessarily. My views are like, 1,000, but theirs are humble brag. Okay. 30. Hold on. I pulled it up earlier. So the podcast is called the YouTube channel is called Humble Brag with Crystal and Cynthia. They have, let me see how many. They have 3,000 subscribers. So that's really not a lot considering between them both, they probably have 2 million-ish Instagram followers alone. 15,000 views from 2 days ago. So that's a lot, but it's not a lot for people that are that famous. The first episode has 39,000 views. So in theory, if they're monetized, which I don't think they would be monetized yet on YouTube based on their subscribers and based on the views so far, and it takes paperwork and stuff, but they're also splitting this podcast by 2 people. So it's kind of one of the things, and I won't give it all away, but a lot of you wondered about David Yontef and the podcast he had with this guy Ace and Anna Kinkoses from Real Housewives of Miami, who was really good friends with her. And of course, I asked him about that because inquiring minds want to know. And it's their podcast. It's the virtual podcast. They can ask, they can't say no to answer any question, right? So he basically said it was a podcast he never wanted to do for a lot of reasons. And it just kind of fell by the wayside. So now they've gone on and he's just back to doing his own podcast as he always was. And they've, I think, moved forward with doing another podcast on their own. But when you split it up 4 ways, it's going to take a while to make some money, right? So, and you've got 4 different people making decisions, 4 different schedules. It's like a lot. You know what I mean? Michael Riley says, Cynthia's sweet, but she's really boring. So apparently she got a lot of feedback that she was talking over Crystal a lot. I guess that hour and 22-minute first episode 1 was over 3 hours of them chatting, and then they edited it down, to be honest with you. So I can imagine how much talking over she was doing. But even Jeff said, are either one of you humble? Like, because that's all you do is, you come on to promote things and let's talk about this and let's talk about that. And I'm like, Raquel says, too many podcasts already talking about reality TV and they came together. It's not that they have been friends forever, so the conversations will be limited. Exactly. That's exactly what I said in the recap of their episode 1. They titled it, and they titled the second episode, kind of what they call it, the outcoming, or no, the origin story, the basically of us. And I'm like, but y'all aren't great friends. Y'all don't hang out. She's got 2 little kids. She's married. You're single, dating a guy in Afghanistan, Amsterdam. You've got an adult daughter. You fly back and forth from, Atlanta to LA. I mean, it's, yeah. It's almost what they were saying is it's almost like they were interviewing to see who was going to do the podcast, and they just ended up doing it themselves. Because even I think Tracy Tudor, I thought, said that it was Crystal's idea, and she had talked to several people about it. And I think Tracy Tudor was one of them. Oh, I love that. Hamilton says, I really like Sarah Fraser. Me too. Wait, what? You ran into Michael Riley ran into Rod Stewart in his Speedo in the elevator. It was kind of wild. Did you look? Did you look down? Just curious. Okay, so they start chatting about privacy with kids as they get older. So, Crystal's kids are now 12 and 9. So they're definitely getting to the age where they've got their own bathrooms. They're going to shower with the door closed. They're not taking a bath or shower with mom and dad anymore. Jeff tells us some stories about Monroe asking who broke up, you or Chef Stu, which I thought was a very interesting question, especially literally almost a year after their breakup. Like, that's a long time to be thinking of. And I didn't know an 8-year-old, a barely 8-year-old, would think of like breakup or not. You know what I mean? Because I doubt she really, I don't know if she really remembers Scott's breakup or how that was explained to her. But maybe since she was a little older, I don't know. I just figured they had so many pauses. It's, Scott and them, Scott practically lived with Jeff during the pandemic in Monroe. Um, and had an apartment also, but Stu and Jeff didn't seem to live together at all. I mean, it was like all the time. Shane was bringing Stu's shit and dumping it on his apartment door, because they were on a pause. But I do think it's interesting how different families deal with, like, do they walk around naked? Do they shut the doors? Do they lock the doors? Do they hide their privacy? Do they call things penis and vagina? Do they call it a thing? Do they call it a wee wee, a TT, go potty? Like, what do they do? You know what I mean? So it's interesting to hear people. It sounded like all three of them grew up conservatively and are conservative how they are as parents. But Jeff probably takes the cake with being the most conservative by like always wearing a bathing suit when he's with Monroe. I sort of wonder if that's just a Jeff thing, because I don't think it's abnormal for a dad to take a bath without a bathing suit when the kids are very little, maybe not 8, but very little. So, but it sounds like Jeff has always done that. That's true. Tiffany says kids are a lot smarter than we give them credit for. Just saying, probably smarter than most adults these days. Amen. I mean, they say about the honesty of kids, right? Like when a kid tells you something, they're telling you probably what adults are thinking and they just won't say. You know what I mean? Oh, Jake from Kansas said, I bet you overheard Gage or Scott mention it. I do wonder how much. So we know Jeff says he keeps things to himself and doesn't talk about Gage or Scott or Stu to Monroe. But then he'll also, in the same breath, say something like calling Gage coach, and then Monroe was picking up on that and going, why do you call him that? Or at least going back to Daddy Gage and saying, hey, Daddy Jeff is calling you coach. And then Gage mentions it. So I don't know. I do feel like kids probably pick on a lot of stuff. Dory says kids are always listening. Yeah, isn't that a bummer? Like, I totally remember when our oldest started reading and I was like, oh, my husband and I would instant message each other all the time during the workday. Me being at home and him being there, just because it was easier with his career to read an instant message on the computer. This is before texting, y'all. Y'all have to remember we've been together forever. And then I remembered, oh, I can't just type, oh, sexy time later, because, my daughter could walk by and read it. She was reading very young. So anyway, such a bummer. Kids do pay attention to everything. You can't spell things anymore when they start reading and spelling. Ugh. Krista says Monroe is super smart and no doubt slightly cunning. That girl won't miss a trick. That's true. Anyways, when Jeff remembers this story, I didn't quite think it was perverted until they got into the details. So as we know, Todd Lewis is the baby of the family. They've got Greg in the middle, and then Jeff is the oldest. He says when Todd was around 4, they held him and Greg held him down and called the dog in to lick his wet body whenever he got out of the bathtub. But it wasn't like legs like I thought. I mean, I'm used to like a dog licking an ankle or something, It was, thank you, Krista. It was, his wiener. So Todd says he remembers it. I think it's more like he said he remembers them telling the stories at like the holidays or Christmas or teasing him. But it was funny. They plugged jefflewismerch.com. So remember, that's the only official merch place. So don't buy it from other people and what have you. jefflewismerch.com. Yes, Krista says, hit that like button, friends. Help our girl out. Thank you. Hit the like button, the thumbs up, all the things. Jake from Kansas says, OMG, that was so cringe. Poor dog. Oh my goodness. So Cynthia let us know now she's been dating this guy for 7 months. So that they're definitely committed. They're definitely banging it out. He comes to Atlanta a lot. So him living in Amsterdam probably gives her kind of the freedom also to do her own business, to fly back and forth and do Bravo events, to fly back and forth and do the LA events and stuff. And and then when they're in Atlanta, they probably date. So that could be a good thing. I think she needs, like she says, she's had 2 marriages, 2 divorces, on Real Housewives of Atlanta. She's going to come back as a friend of Atlanta. So she's like, now I can say as much or as little about my relationship. I'm not required to kind of have him on because I'm not a full-time housewife. So I kind of want to know what he looks like though, just because I feel like Peter and what was her last guy's name? Michael? Gosh, what was her last husband? She wasn't married to her daughter's dad. Cynthia Bailey, Michael, ex-husband. Didn't he end up being kind of a creepazoid? Or Mike Hill? That's right, Mike, not Michael. Mike Hill. They were married for 2 years. They were married. Peter and her were married for 7 years, but she said they had financial problems a lot. So, anyways, that'll be kind of interesting. Yes. Wait, what? You had friends at 2. I usually catch the replay, but I always make certain to like Sarah's lives to help her algorithm. Thank you, Hamilton. I really appreciate it. Jeff's Hinge guy. So he's still dating-ish, seeing multiple people. He's talked about this Hinge guy a few times. I thought they had already kind of ended things because I thought this was the guy. I think he's the same guy that didn't like, he must listen to the show or have friends, which I think can be a problem. I'd just rather somebody be too busy. But I mean, how could you not? If you were dating a guy that you're not famous, but you find out or know that they are, and they have a live radio show 10 hours a week that talk about their personal life, it's almost like, how can you not date? I mean, how can you not date? How can you not listen to it? But I just want a guy for him that doesn't listen, doesn't care, just blows it off, never talks about it. So he had already mentioned that this was the guy that kind of texted him and said, hey, I'm not shorter. I didn't catfish you. I'm not fatter. I'm not this. I'm not that from the Hinge date. And so now when Jeff or whoever reached out to him, basically last night, he's like, look, you're a great guy. I think a bang bang time would be super fun, but it's not in the cards. I'm kind of dating this other guy and I want to see how that's going to go. So Jeff sent him a very nice reply. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your honesty. I appreciate it. Of course, we can stay friends. So when these people say stay friends, I think that's just a polite way of saying, let's not dog each other or hate each other. Or if we see each other out at the bars, we can say hi. But when Jeff has said, I think dating these people gives me an opportunity to either make new friends or find a date or, a boyfriend. I don't think he has any intention of finding friends. Like, I think he's got his crew. I don't necessarily think he's looking for new people. Yeah, Michael Riley says that's goodbye. Like, that's just the polite way of saying that's goodbye, right? Y'all just had a horrific hurricane or 3, Michael, and you said you need rain there? Goodness. We definitely haven't had much rain where I live for sure. Anyways, but that seems to be over. On the second hour was Ryan Bailey and Justin Martindale, who I really like together. Teased Doug Buden relentlessly. I'm sort of surprised Doug didn't call in or text Jeff or, him read the text. Lots of teasing about, being a murderer, being a creep, having, tools in the shed. I mean, lots of things, right? Oh, Krista says, I was happy to see your rain on Instagram. So wasn't it pretty? And as soon as I started videoing my backyard, it rained harder. So it's kind of nice. But it wasn't that rain, like annoying rain. You know what I mean? Like, it was just nice and peaceful, and just hearing the rain hit the pool was nice. Anyways, lots of calls. And one call even said, the question we've been kind of talking about on the Sarah from Texas Facebook group. Do you feel like there's more calls lately? Because I kind of felt like there was more too. They're even taking calls now during the first hour, which they only used to do that at the very end and then open it up into the whole second hour. So, one caller called in and said she was catfishing. She's Joan from Virginia, but she has been trying to call in for days and couldn't get through. So since she's visiting, I think not Palm Beach, Palm Desert, Palm Springs, somewhere in California for her birthday, she said she was from there instead, and then she got right on. But she had a lot to say. She basically called to say, I want to call tomorrow and tell you a story about aliens or something, like something paranormal. And I guess because it's going to be Halloween, I guess I didn't really think we were having like a Halloween themed show. I felt like they're not dressing up. Like we don't need people to call in and tell paranormal stories, do we? So I don't know. I think he was very nice, very polite to her because I don't know. I kind of thought that was, you know. Oh, Jake says it stormed crazy here today. He's obviously in Kansas. The tornado sirens went off and my girlfriend lost an equipment building and a grain bin. Oh no. Anyways, he had a really good call today on the show. But do y'all think there's too many calls? Do you like the calls? Do you like the callers that are calling? He takes kind of a lot of the same callers, but I also wonder if it's the same callers that call in. Like once you call in, I feel like that you've broken like the cherry, like you've done it. You've had the balls to call in. So then once you get on the radio, you have that confidence and maybe some of the same people call in. So maybe it's the fact that a lot of new people don't call in and they take the calls that do call in. So I don't know. I don't mind them at all. This caller, Kathy, called in today and basically saying that she reminded us that she's the one that had called in and started sobbing when Carney Wilson was on, because I think she was trying to lose weight and I think she felt really down in life. She didn't like her job. She just didn't like where a lot of things in her life were going. And now she called in to say that she just got a brand new job yesterday, totally different career path, and it's going to be better. And she basically wanted to know, should I give 2 weeks notice or should I just walk in and say, I'm out of here? So I kind of love that. And I love that Ryan or Justin, I don't remember which one of them basically said, oh, all of this good stuff kind of came about because you called in to Carney Wilson. And don't forget, Carney Wilson was like, make sure you message me. I want to talk to you. I want to make sure you're okay. Because it was a really emotional call. I mean, she was really down in the dumps. So I think we were all a little bit worried about her. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I hope she does give her 2 weeks notice. And I hope, like the HR lady that called in, I hope they say, you know what? We've got all your paperwork. Here's your time off. Here's your last paycheck. Here's any benefits money you need. And just have a good vacation for the 2 weeks before you start your job. Like, I think that would be great. Yeah. Krista says Ryan and Justin both have great hearts. Yeah. I like them. Ooh, who's Reed Timmer? Hannah says, to take the weather seriously when Reed Timmer shows up in your town. Who's the guy that shows up for hurricanes? That's the guy. I always hear his name, but maybe it's because I hear hurricanes. Yes, Krista says Carney has a great heart too, for sure. Wow, JT says the weather is weird in the Midwest. 40 to 50 mile per hour winds with storms in the Midwest. Be kind to our elderly handicapped trying to vote. My mom is 97 years old. Wow. Can older people not mail in their vote? I don't know. I guess I would think there's situation. I honestly don't know because I'm not in a situation. I don't personally know anyone that needs physical help getting to the polls to either early vote or to vote next Tuesday. So I really don't know. If anyone knows that, let me know. I was listening to TMZ before today, and they were talking about Kamala, and I don't get into politics, but they were talking about Kamala Harris renting out the Sphere in Las Vegas and all the money it must be costing because it's going to be from now till the voting day, election day. And they were just wondering if it was going to move the needle or not, if decisions were already made to vote, for Trump or to vote for Kamala Harris. And Harvey Levin said I don't know if it's legal, but she should choose to pay for Ubers to get people out to vote, because there might be people that don't vote because they don't have a car, they have kids, their health, what have you. So I would think being 97, that might be a way. Okay, says Krista says there's absentee ballot for disabled elderly voters in most states. Okay, thank you for letting us know that. Michael Riley says I always vote absentee mail-in. Oh, I've literally never done that. I've always gone to the polls, but I guess because I'm, I don't know. I just always have. I guess I would wonder if it got there. I don't know. I just like doing it myself. I just like knowing. This year it was kind of like that scanning thing. Is that the same everywhere? Like this one, I had to go in a line to give my license. She scanned something there. Then I think she gave me a ticket and go in this other line. She gave me a whole 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, like a thick cardstock. I voted. Then that printed everything out, literally. And then I went over to a corner and scanned it into a computer. I'm trying to think of everything I did last week. And then as I was leaving, they said, "Do you want an early vote sticker?" And I said, no. That's true. We're not talking politics. We're just talking the rules on politics. So yes, for sure. Okay. So I like the callers. I don't know if I don't know if the catfish caller. I mean, I don't know. I thought that was interesting. Then they talked about Halloween movies, which is not my jam at all. My kids and my husband love scary movies, so that is their jam. Like I said, I think it's going to rain here tomorrow, so I've got my chocolate. I found the best deal because, what I did is I looked up the price per ounce of the big bags of chocolate candy. So at Costco, they had a big bag of candy, and it said Kirkland, which is their brand, but it's peanut M&Ms, regular M&Ms, Snickers, Kit Kats. I mean, it's all the good little stuff, right? That was 0.222 cents an ounce. Okay. At Walmart, I pulled up online and looked at one of their bags of candy, and it was 0.34 cents. So 34 cents an ounce. The other one's 22 cents an ounce. And then there was another bag at Kirkland's that was a little bit more. So I bought 2 bags. So it ended up being $19.99. So $40 for kind of a lot of candy. I did the Lord's work and I found the candy, and I haven't opened it yet. The Kirkland brand is actually good. Yeah, and they're wrapped. They're the regular M&Ms, and they're not Kirkland brand. So it's not like my kids are going to be embarrassed that I'm passing out Costco brand candy, Oh my gosh. Michael Riley says, I always gave out full-size Hershey bars. That only started around here maybe 5 years ago, and only 2 or 3 houses would do it. And really, expensive as candy is anymore, when you give 2 or 3, 4 pieces, it probably ends up costing the same damn amount as a whole candy bar anyways. And these kids now, look at you. If you only give them one or 2 pieces, they would never accept that. Little bratty kids. No kids come to your house anymore. So we definitely have kids. We have, my kids have all gotten older, but other kids, neighbors have moved in with little kids. We definitely have a lot of kids come to our neighborhood. For sure. Anyways, what else? We've got 15 minutes left. We can chat. We can end early. What do y'all want to chat about? We can open it up for questions. Other TV shows y'all want to chat about tonight is Salt Lake City. Are you excited for it? I like being able to pass out candy. So for so long, when my kids were little, if we had a baby or, what have you, I would stay home with the baby and pass out the candy, and my husband would go with the kids and friends around the neighborhood for hours. Then it got to where he would stay home, and because someone's got to stay. I'm not going to leave my house, without somebody passing out candy. And then I would go with friends and our kids to pass out candy. So we've kind of traded it out every year to what we do, but we still have a lot. Wait, what? Michael says, I loved and waited for the kids to yell to their parents. Oh my God, it's full size. Made me laugh so much. Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah, they do get excited when it's good. And they get excited when it's their own candy. You know what I mean? No, good question. Hamilton says, any news when Jeff starts his Bravo show? No, and he hasn't talked about when it starts filming yet either. And he was mentioning Dallas today, and he was talking about when, because I think, isn't Crystal coming to the Roundup with him? I think she was going to be in Dallas, and I think she changed her flight like a day or two to make it. So I don't know when that is. I feel like it's next week, though. So, he's not making it a secret that he'll be back at the Roundup one of the nights that he's there. Oh, I love that, Mike. We've done that too, pizza parties. Michael Riley says, I would always have a pizza party and all the kids would come here for pizza. Then we'd all go out in a big group. Yeah, but I just didn't, I know, anyways, I know your situation. So I just like to leave an adult at the house to pass out the candy. So, oh, delicious. JT says, I went to Walmart yesterday. No cart. I did well until I backslid and bought the Krispy Kreme donuts at the self-checkout. I'm kicking myself. I feel your pain. I am snacking more. I'm being a human garbage can where I see, stuff like Pico. I'm like, oh, this Pico is going to spoil. So let me get out this and eat it. I'm just, I made some more boiled eggs today because somebody, and it must have been my husband, he must have taken a few for work, and I just didn't see him do that because I make them in a 6-pack because I have this little egg boiling machine, and it makes 6 at a time. Krista, are you dressing up for Halloween? So I usually wear a black shirt, short sleeved or long sleeve, depending on the weather, jeans, and this big black witch's hat that I've had for 10 years. I don't even know. It's a pretty good hat though. And it's got a black veil over it. I wore it on my, when I was on the virtual podcast last night, when I was in the audience. Lisa says, I live on a very busy road, but I don't get trick-or-treaters. And I'm very happy about that. Sorry. It's just, I do remember when our kids were little and we had already turned off all the lights. Like we know all the rules. We've got a front porch with lights, recessed lights, and then we've got front lanterns. Turn all that off, turn off the front lights, everything. We'd go give our kids a bath and put them to bed. And then somebody would ring the doorbell at 9:30. And I'm like, no, we don't do that. Yes. Michael, we're already planning Thanksgiving. So I'm already going to make the deviled eggs, the boiled eggs, and my daughter's going to get my sister-in-law's recipe for her deviled eggs. For Thanksgiving. And tomorrow, I'm picking it up tonight, but I think I'm going to make them tomorrow. For the holidays, I make Oreo truffles. And so that's a bag of Oreo cookies crunched up, like crunched up with a processor, 8 ounces of cream cheese, mash that all together, which is the absolute worst part ever. And then roll them into balls and then dip them into white chocolate or almond bark. And then you put Halloween sprinkles or Valentine sprinkles, Christmas sprinkles, Easter sprinkles, whatever the holiday is. They're delicious. Hamilton said, when I was first diagnosed with my breast cancer, I bought a dozen chocolate frosted donuts every day for a week from Dunkin' and ate every one of them. You go. I will never judge. I know sugar feeds cancer and it's not a great thing, but you got to do what you got to do when you're diagnosed with any kind of situation. Lisa says, don't forget one of the most haunted places on earth is up on the hill across the street from my house, the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. What's a sanatorium? Like an insane asylum? What's a sanatorium? Sanatorium, meaning an establishment Oh, an establishment for the medical treatment of people who are convalescing or have a chronic illness. Oh, sanitarium is another word. Which one? Wait, what did I look up? Sanatorium. Yeah, that's what you said. Serve people with tuberculosis, and sanatoriums were for people with a variety of illnesses who needed to convalesce. What does convalesce mean? Like isolate? Is that what that means? I don't even know. What do you want to know about last night? Ask me, Krista. I think I can tell y'all. I mean, it's kind of like it's you bought a ticket for it, but I mean, Sarah Fraser knows people are going to talk about it. You know what I mean? Um, what else? So when they first got, so Jim Bellino is very confused on why people think poorly of him. Like I don't know if he didn't watch OC when he was on it with Alexis. He doesn't get why people think he's a scumbag. So that's really confusing to him. So that was kind of interesting. Yeah. It's a place to heal. Okay. So to get better, it means to rest, which I guess nowadays you wouldn't really have that, would you? But he was in the car and I was like, my God, he's literally driving, going to do this podcast. He had to drive like 5 more minutes and then he got to his golf course, his private golf course, I guess, his country club that had the country club in the background. Cause the podcast started at 7:00 New York time. So it was 4 p.m., California time, OC. And anyways, he had just went shopping. He had a new Louis Vuitton jacket on. Anyways, he was Jim Bellino. Did he change my mind about him? No, not really. The only thing is when he said that I couldn't really decide, like, does he like Alexis being on? Does he not like her being on? He did say something about if she comes on next season, she needs to be a friend. She needs to be a housewife, not a friend of, basically because they're not paid as much and what have you. And I'm like, but does she need the money? Like, she's getting money from you. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. Hamilton said, I thought Sarah's interview 2 weeks ago with Jim Bellino was very good. He redeemed himself somewhat. And that's what a lot are saying, that they really understood him a lot more from the Sarah Fraser podcast when she interviewed Jim Bellino. So go check that out. The whole thing will be on the Sarah Fraser podcast. And I think clips, not all, are going to be on her YouTube channel, The Sarah Fraser Show. Rebecca says, is he a good father? I can't remember. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember them having their kids on much then. And now, like he said, his kid at college, he had seen him that day. He goes to a local Christian school, Christian university. And then the twins are 17 years old. So he just said, they kind of go in between each house and it's not really a set, like 1 week. I didn't ask him all those details, but it just sounded like he said they're adults. I mean, they're 17 in college. They can kind of come to my house. They can go to Alexis's house. They can, it's a very good relationship. You know what I mean? Oh, thank you, Krista. She says, you're such a great, kind cheerleader for Sarah Fraser. Love the girl power. And the same to her, though. When she reached out to me the very first time, about 11 months ago or so, she was so nice to me and she's been nothing but nice. And I always tell her, girl, if you F me over, I'm going to be like, I'm out of this business. This podcasting thing is weird because too many weird things have happened. And I'm like, nope. Someone did call in, or not call in. So when you're on a virtual podcast, it's kind of like you push a button, like to raise your hand. It's a Zoom. Somebody in the audience wanted to tell Jim Bellino that years ago, she was in private on a plane, and Alexis and him were on their 3 kids, and they were very polite, very nice, and all this stuff. So she did tell that story about him. Yeah. Krista said, yeah, Jim Bellino was so controlling and bizarre in his first edit early on. Yeah, OC. Were they Beverly Hills or OC? Weren't they OC? Anyways, maybe I'm forgetting. Oh, I don't think we talked about that at all. But again, they are adults. So Christina says, does Jim think it's okay for his kids to be around Johnny J? I don't remember him having anything negative to say about Johnny J. The only thing he really talked about was that uh, I've heard already that he does think they will get married. He did kind of hold back something because he was kind of trying to say something would maybe be on air, but he didn't really say exactly. Um, wow, I haven't heard anything about money. Jet says there's a lot of speculation on the internet about how much Jeff got on his new contract. People are saying between 2 to 3 million. I have no idea how much he might make. I know I don't know. 2 or 3 million doesn't sound like a ton for 10 hours of week. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's people that do a 1-hour podcast a week and make that much money. So, also he's paying he from that he's like Howard Stern from what I gather, he is paying out. No. Yeah, he pay. Wait a minute. Is SiriusXM paying people now? I think he pays everyone, right? So I feel like he pays all 4 people $500. I mean, that's $2,000. 2,000 times 5, that's 10,000 a week. No, it's gotta be. Am I doing that right? He pays 500 people, $500 per person, $4. 2,000 times 5 days a week. Times 4 weeks. Wait, no, let me do 10,000 times 52 weeks because he works year round. That's $520,000 just for the talent, just for the co-host he's paying. Not Shane, not Aurora, not Zoila, not Lily, not not Lily anymore. Lisa, Nanny Alyssa. I mean, the dog trainers, he's got to be making more than 2 or 3,000. Otherwise, that wouldn't even make sense. I have no idea. Michael Riley, I'm never going to let you hold my checkbook. I mean, yeah, math is hard, math is hard. I'm actually really good with money as far as like, I don't know, maybe I do spend money. Jet says, so it's a total deal of 4 to 6 million is the rumor. I have no idea. I have no idea I would never ask him. Clearly. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Jake from Kansas says Jeff pays the guest now, so that was discussed a few days ago. And he said it's 500 per guest, and everyone makes the same amount. So that's in general $520,000 that he's just paying for that. So that's not the hotels he put, which he can write off. But yeah, yes, that's why Doug was fired from Sirius because he was actually a part-time employee, whereas most everyone else had an LLC that he would pay them through. Jeff needs every penny of it. That's for damn sure. Yeah, he's going to get a bonus in January because he will stop paying the $33,000 a month that's been for the attorney fees for, yeah, $500 is a lot. I mean, that's an hour. That's a lot. I mean, for someone, especially they're not traveling, they're not like going out of their way. I mean, Doug literally lives 3 blocks away, he said, you know what I mean? Yes, Jet said he had to laugh when Jeff said that during a commercial that Joey hasn't invoiced Sirius since February. And I think Jody hadn't done it since April. So they're owed a lot of money from Sirius XM. Anyways. Well, thank you so much for joining. If you're watching as a replay, shout out. Please like, please subscribe. Make sure you're following me everywhere at Sarah from Texas Podcast. Whether or not you listen as a podcast, please go find Sarah from Texas everywhere you get podcasts and scroll down and it'll say stars. Let me show you because some of y'all have asked me how to do it. Okay. So here is Apple. So I went to my Apple, whatever that is, Apple Podcast. What is that? See the purple one? Apple Podcast. That one's Spotify next to it. Click on an episode. There's where you would hit play. If you keep scrolling down, it's really kind of random. Oh, of course, it's not going to do it. Hold on. Go to show. So I went here to these arrows, buttons, and I hit go to show. And then if you do that, then you're on the show. And then ratings and reviews. And there's stars. And you just hit 5 stars, hopefully. And then it says right here, write a review. Click on that. And if you write a review, then you hit the submit button. So write a review, whatever you say. This is not showing it very well. And then hit submit in the upper right-hand corner. I'd really appreciate it. Anyways, I will see you tomorrow. Same place, same time, 4 o'clock Eastern. Bye, Chumpets. Have a great day. And let's watch Salt Lake City so we can chat about it tomorrow.